This is a CBC podcast.
This is Shift on CBC Radio 1, coming up now to 20 minutes after 5 o'clock. It's being hailed as a big first for NASA. The first ever powered flight on a planet other than Earth is planned for next week on Mars. The helicopter Ingenuity is being carried on the rover Perseverance. Once it's all set up, it will take to the Martian sky for a series of flights. It'll gather data and also set the stage for future planetary exploration technology. The little helicopter is even carrying a symbolic token, a little swatch of fabric from the Wright brothers' famous first aircraft. Michael Edwards, our science columnist, is here to tell us more. Hi, Michael.
Hello, Khalil.
So what does this helicopter actually look like?
I would say it's a funny-looking thing because it's not really a helicopter. It's like a cube on feet, and it's got helicopter blades, two going in one direction, two going perpendicular to them as well. So it kind of looks like if you were to try and design a helicopter to be as simple as possible, which is often the case when it comes to doing stuff in space, then this is what you would end up with.
All right. So how unusual is this idea of launching an aircraft basically off the surface of another planet?
Yeah, this is a weird one. This is really unique. I don't think it's ever been done before. At the moment, Mars is a happening place. There's lots going on in Mars because in addition to Perseverance, the rover, and Ingenuity, which is the helicopter, one of the old rovers, the one that went up there in 2012, what's the name of it? I can't remember the name of it. It'll come to me.
Right.
And because they give them all the sort of, inspiring names.
Yes.
Curiosity, that was the other one. And so it's still moving around up there. It's still alive and doing stuff up there. But in addition, there's actually a probe in orbit that China put up, Tianwen-1, and that's in orbit at the moment, and it's hoping to actually land on Mars in May or June, just depending on circumstances. And they've got a rover as well. So there could be another country putting a rover up there, no helicopter. And the other thing that's going on, which is a really unique one, is the United Arab Emirates is the first Arab nation to do an interplanetary probe. And their one, which is called Hope, Amal in Arabic, is actually in orbit as well. So there's two other things in orbit, plus all the stuff going on at the surface. So, as planets go, it's a lively place at the moment.
Yeah, we're learning a lot, presumably, in the next little while about Mars.
Absolutely, yeah. And Perseverance, the rover that's up there, is not, it has other things. It's very similar to Curiosity that was up there before. It's got the same kind of size. It's got better cameras, better communication, better mobility, because they've learned all those things from that. But adding the helicopter is the unusual thing.
What needs to happen before the launch of this helicopter?
Well, it was stored away in a little sort of box on the bottom of Perseverance, and that has been ejected now. And Ingenuity is kind of like being all origami folded up into a little box, and so it's coming out and unfolding. So it's putting itself into its final shape. If that goes well and everything clicks into place, then it's going to be able to. It's got a little helipad that it's going to move on and off of, and it's going to be able to move in about a week's time from now.
What could go wrong between now and then?
Everything. One of the things that's really fascinating about it is that it's not being controlled in real time because it takes about 11 minutes for the signal to go between Earth and Mars and Mars and Earth. That means it's not plausible to do that. So instead, it's using specific waypoints that have already been programmed in, and it's going to be flying around looking at different things. But also, the main thing it's up there for is just to test to see if it's actually plausible to do, is have a vehicle fly on another planet.
Presumably it'll pick up data and so on about what's in the air and pick up video and photos of the ground from up there.
It only has one piece of equipment on it that is able to collect data, and that's a camera, which is about the same power as your cell phone camera. That's
Okay.
it. So it's able to take pictures and video. So some of that will be useful because it has the potential, because it's going up in the sky or up in Mars sky. It's got the potential to look and see if there's anything that Perseverance should go check out and have a better look at, because it's got a better vantage point. But the main thing, and it's going to collect data just on its flight. Its flights aren't that long as well. It's only going up for about 90 seconds at a time.
Oh wow! And then it comes down, and
then it comes down. Yeah, it's got solar panels and batteries on it, and again, we're thinking like it takes about a cell phone battery's worth of power to actually get it up there for 90 seconds. But the additional batteries that are there to keep it heated, because on Mars it goes down to minus 90 at night, and so it means it has to survive. That's one of the big things in space, is you have to think about the conditions it's dealing with. The other conditions on Mars that makes this super challenging is the fact that its atmosphere is a lot less dense than Earth. So a helicopter, the blades spin, and because they're angled, it forces the air down. And when the air gets forced down, we get into Newton's third law, which is for every action, there's an equal and opposite. Everyone say it with me. Reaction. And that means that as the air gets pushed down, the helicopter gets pushed up. That's how helicopters work. When we've got this one up there on Mars, because as the rotors are spinning, there is less stuff to push against. And if there's less stuff to push against, that means it's more challenging to produce the force that it needs to go up in the air. So what it has to do is it has to make its rotors spin much, much faster. Like we're looking at about 2,500 revolutions per minute, compared to about, if the same thing was down on Earth, it would only take about 500 spins per minute. So that means it uses that power much quicker. And it's only going up about, I think the standard height they're going is about 5 meters. And then it can go up to about 10 meters, but no higher than that. But it's going to be scooting around. So as it kind of tips its blades forward, it can produce sideways motion as well, like other helicopters. So it's able to scoot around about 50 meters in this time scale. Then it goes back down, sits in the sun, and it will charge up its batteries and hopefully go up for other flights. They're hoping for one good flight. That's their goal, is to get that one flight out of it. But there is the potential to do up to 5 flights in the next 30 days.
What do you think the longer-term vision is? What do you think this project, this particular helicopter, could lead to down the road?
Well, the main thing is that for navigation, especially on the surface of a planet, a vehicle goes exceptionally slowly. Something in the air goes much faster. Think about driving somewhere versus flying somewhere. So we have that on its side. So if you're trying to explore the surface of a planet, if you're able to do something in the air, it's able to move around much, much more quickly. And again, identify specific points and potentially send other vehicles to it as well. That will take longer. The other thing as well is that this thing is completely independent, really. It sends signals back to Perseverance, and that's how it gets back to Earth, because it's not got any mechanism to send anything directly back to Earth. So as they begin to get more information about what happens to the flight, all the data and so on, then what's going to happen is they're going to be able to build a more sizable one that's going to be able to fly for longer, and potentially put in its own communications system as well. So we could have multiple vehicles all moving around on the surface of a planet simultaneously, all sending data back to Earth.
Michael, it's good to talk to you on the show. Thanks so much for your take on this. We'll all be watching, I guess, as this plays out over the next days and weeks.
It's super exciting time to be watching to see what happens. So yeah, it should be fun to see what goes on.
Talk to you next week, Michael.
Thanks now. Bye-bye.
Michael Edwards is the Chief Science Officer at Science East in Fredericton.
For more CBC podcasts, go to cbc.ca/podcasts.